Trapped in snow, she trusts a stranger. He's the Tycoon after her land. Calgary's winds howl. A snowstorm traps Lila June Harrow far from home, where every flake threatens her family's ranch. A stranger offers shelter, but is he friend or foe? Buckle up. This chill's got a twist you won't see coming. Lila June Harrow's voice shook as she shouted into her phone, the howling wind outside nearly drowning her out. Dad, the roads are shutting down any second. The storm's getting worse. She stood on the rickety porch of a rundown rest stop off a Calgary highway, shivering as snow lashed her face. Her thin jacket flapped in the gusts, the late afternoon sky a murky gray promising to bury Alberta's countryside under a thick white shroud. Her father, Cal Harrow's voice crackled through static. I know, honey, but we need you back at Pine Hollow Ranch fast. That Lawrence rep's coming tomorrow about the land sale. I can't face him alone. We can't look broke. Lila clutched her coat tighter, heart hammering at the words, land sale. For generations, the Harrow family had held Pine Hollow Ranch, acres of rich farmland near Banff, dotted with the orchard her granddad planted decades ago. It was her childhood, her roots. But debts and bad harvests had pushed Cal to the edge of selling off a chunk to survive. She hated it. Pine Hollow was more than dirt. It was home. Dad, I swore I'd be there for the meeting, but the highway's a mess, she said, ducking back into the rest stop's dim shelter to dodge the wind's bite. The nearest motel's full. If the roads close, I'm stuck here for who knows how long. A burst of static hissed through the phone. Lila, do what you can. We can't let Lawrence bully us into a corner. Cal hung up, leaving her in the gloom, helpless. She huffed, scanning the empty rest stop. 2 crooked vending machines flickered in a corner. A faded sign listed cabins for rent, but the numbers were smudged or useless. Outside, the wind rattled the walls, snow piling fast. Lila knew she had to find cover. Spending the night in her car with the temps dropping below 0 was a death wish. She dug into her pocket for crumpled bills, hoping for a hot drink to steady her nerves. Then footsteps crunched across the grimy tiles behind her. She spun, heart jumping, to see a tall, broad-shouldered man in a heavy black coat striding toward her. Snow dusted his dark hair, which he brushed back, revealing piercing blue eyes. Sorry, he said, voice low and polite, nodding her way. Caught your call. If you need a place to crash, I might have one. Lila narrowed her eyes, wary. Strangers popping up at deserted rest stops in the blizzard didn't scream trust. But his earnest look held her still. There's a cabin I booked for the night, he went on. Was meeting a buddy, but he's snowed out. You can share it till the storm quits, if you're okay with that. Lila weighed her odds. Say no, and what? Freeze in her car or scramble for a full motel? A warm cabin, even with a stranger, tugged at her. How do I know you're not trouble? She asked, blunt, sizing him up. He gave a small, easy smile. You don't, but it's legit. He pulled a crumpled paper from his pocket, a rental confirmation from a local outfit, listing a cabin 5 miles off. She studied it, then him. The roads to Banff were icing over. Home was out of reach, but this cabin might still be doable if they moved quick. She exhaled, gambling on his vibe. Fine, she said, voice tight. But rules. Separate spots, no funny stuff. He nodded, offering his hand. Deal. I'm Ezra Kane Voss. Lila June Harrow, she said, shaking it. His grip cold but firm, steadying her nerves. Let's move before we're snowed in. The world outside was a white blur. Lila and Ezra trudged to his SUV, snow crunching underfoot, wind shoving them hard. She nearly slipped but caught herself. Inside, she buckled up, noting the car's spotless interior, a quiet hint of money, though Ezra wore no flashy tags. He fired up the engine, heat blasting, and eased onto the deserted highway. Flurries slammed the windshield, visibility shrinking fast. Lila's heart thudded as tires skidded on ice. You sure you can drive this? She asked, gripping the armrest. Done worse storms, Ezra replied, knuckles white on the wheel. We'll make it. Just slow. Tense quiet filled the car as they crawled through half-plowed roads, headlights swallowed by swirling snow. Lila stole glances at Ezra, sharp jaw, steady gaze, brow creased with focus. Who was this guy, alone in a blizzard out here? Curiosity gnawed, but she bit it back. 40 minutes later, a narrow lane veered off the highway. The SUV groaned up a snowy hill, tires spinning until pine trees parted to reveal a cabin's warm glow. Smoke curled from a stone chimney. Relief flooded Lila at the sight of safety. Ezra parked by buried front steps, engine rumbling off. Ready? He asked, keys dangling. She nodded, jaw set. Let's go. They dashed through the gale, snow stinging their faces, and hit the porch. Ezra fumbled the lock with numb fingers, then shoved the door open. Heat rushed over them as they stumbled inside. Lila gasped, relief melting her tension. The cabin was cozy, wood-paneled walls, a small kitchen nook, a stone fireplace glowing with embers, a soft lamp bathing the space in gold. 2 doors led to bedrooms, a bathroom tucked aside, better than she'd dared hope. This place is nice, she said, shedding her coat, rubbing life back into her hands. Ezra dropped his bag, nodding. Paid extra for a last-minute snag, beats a motel. Outside, the storm raged, snow lashing the windows. They'd barely made it. Let's stoke that fire, Ezra said, heading to the hearth. Lila poked around the kitchen, canned soup, a loaf of bread, an old kettle. Basic, but enough. Her stomach growled. She hadn't eaten all day. As Ezra tossed logs into the flames, she cracked open a can. Survival first, questions later. Banff's blizzard locks Lila and Ezra in. A cabin's warmth hides a brewing storm. She's fighting for her ranch, but who's this stranger, really? Secrets crackle like that fire. Next part's a spark you won't dodge. Stick around. Banff's snow traps Lila and Ezra in a cozy lie. Soup warms the night, but a name chills her blood. She's spilling her heart to the man who'd steal her ranch, friend or foe. This cabin's heating up fast. Don't miss the spark that could burn it all down. We can heat some soup, Lila June Harrow offered, cracking open a can in the cabin's small kitchen nook. Her voice steady despite the storm rattling the windows. Ezra Kane Voss glanced over from the fireplace where he crouched adding logs. Sounds perfect. I can pitch in. They worked side by side, Lila boiling water on the stove, Ezra toasting bread over the fire's edge. A strange, easy rhythm bloomed between them, 2 strangers finding comfort in the flicker of flames and the hiss of steam. Lila caught Ezra's sneaking, polite, thoughtful glances her way, his blue eyes sharp, curious. She wondered if he felt the same pull she did, a tug to know more. So, Lila, he said softly, stirring the soup as embers popped behind him. I caught some of your call with your dad, something about family land. You selling it, if it's okay to ask? She stiffened, a flicker of unease curling in her gut. Why did this feel too close? We're in a tight spot, she said, voice tight. Money's short. A big outfit wants to buy part of Pine Hollow Ranch, maybe more. I hate it, but we might not have a choice. Ezra's brow creased, a shadow crossing his face, something unreadable, heavy. I'm sorry, he said low. Family land's a big deal. She nodded, throat thickening. It is. I'm praying we can keep it. Dad's stubborn, though, rushes into deals too fast. Ezra tilted his head, voice gentle. You close with him? Lila shrugged, stirring the soup harder than needed. Yeah and no. We clash, especially over selling. But he's tried hard, especially since Mom died. Pine Hollow's all I've ever called home. She stopped, cheeks warm. She'd spilled too much to the stranger, yet Ezra didn't push, just nodded, his calm easing her guard. Soon they sat by the fire with steaming bowls and crusty bread, the storm battering the cabin's walls. Warmth spread, not just from the flames, but from this odd, quiet company. "Thanks," Lila said, glancing at him, voice soft, "for sharing this place. I'd be lost out there." He smiled, small but real. "No problem. Couldn't sleep knowing you were stuck." They ate in silence, fire crackling. Neither knew fate had lit a fuse bigger than the storm. Night slammed down fast, the blizzard raging harder, shaking the cabin's bones. They'd found sheets in a closet, made up the 2 bedrooms, and stoked the fire to fight the plunging cold. By 9 p.m., Lila braved the snow for a quick call, wind nearly toppling her as she found a weak signal on the porch. She dialed Cal, shouting over the gale. "You okay, Lila?" Her dad's voice broke through, thick with relief. "Roads are shut tight." "I'm safe. In a rental cabin," she yelled back. "Storm's brutal. I won't make tomorrow's meeting." Cal sighed. "I'll manage. That buyer's rep's coming. Some out-of-towner, Ezra Voss. Big shot from Lawrence Enterprises, I reckon. Hope they don't push for too much land." Lila's breath snagged. "Ezra Voss?" Her heart jolted. "Ezra Voss?" she echoed, voice shaky. "Yeah, that's the name in the email. Hush, hush stuff. Stay safe. Kid will talk soon." He hung up, leaving her in the swirling snow, phone clutched tight. Her mind spun. Ezra Voss? The man inside? Too wild to be chance, or was it? Shaken, she fought back indoors, snow clinging to her jacket. Ezra looked up from the fire, concern knitting his brows as he tossed in a log. "You okay?" Lila couldn't hide the storm in her eyes. "My dad. He said an Ezra Voss is coming tomorrow to buy our land. Is that you?" He froze, tension rippling through his jaw, silence stretched, thick as the snow outside. "Yeah," he admitted, voice low. "I'm with Lawrence. I was set to meet your dad tomorrow." Disbelief flared in Lila's chest, hot and sharp. "You're the one after Pine Hollow?" Ezra hesitated, stepping closer. "Look, I didn't know you were a Harrow. Your dad mentioned Lila once in an email, but I didn't connect it till now. It's messy." Anger surged, scorching her throat. She'd shared soup, her fears, with the man poised to rip her home away. "Why didn't you say something sooner?" she snapped, voice rising. He set down the poker, hands up. "We met by luck. I only pieced it together tonight when you said Harrow. With the storm, I just wanted you safe, not to start a war." Her cheeks burned. She'd felt his kindness, but was it all a lie? "Stay back," she hissed, stepping away. "I don't need your fake pity." Hurt flashed in his eyes, but he didn't snap back. "Lila, I'm not playing you, I swear. Lawrence sends me coast to coast for deals. I barely know the families till I land." She crossed her arms, blinking back furious tears. "Well, you're not getting Pine Hollow without a brawl. Dad might be desperate, but I'll fight tooth and nail to stop you. Stop Lawrence from swallowing my roots." The wind outside screamed, mirroring her fury. Ezra stood quiet, shame flickering in his gaze, then took a slow breath. "I'm not your enemy, but you got every right to hate me." Without another word, Lila spun, stormed to her bedroom, and slammed the door, locking it tight. She slid down against it, burying her face in her hands. Betrayal, confusion, and a strange ache twisting her gut. Hours ago, he'd been a lifeline. Now he was the billionaire she dreaded. Sleep dodged her. She lay on the narrow bed, staring at the wooden ceiling, the storm's roar a relentless echo of her thoughts. Every moment with Ezra replayed, his quiet help, his steady voice. Was it all a mask? In the main room, Ezra tossed on the couch, restless, the storm's howl a grim reminder. He'd come to clinch Pine Hollow, a deal to save Cal financially, but gut Lila's orchard dreams. Guilt gnawed he saw her fire when she spoke of home, a bond Lawrence never weighed. He'd brokered deals for years, chasing profit. Now her pain made him question it all. Near dawn, the fire dimmed, a tense hush settling. Outside, the blizzard held firm, locking them in a fragile standoff, neither finding peace. Bamf's dawn creeps gray. Lila's trust shatters as Ezra's mask slips. The cabin cozy turns cage. Will rage bury them or spark something new? The storm's not done. Drop fireworks if you're ready for the blaze ahead. Bamf's blizzard binds Lila and Ezra tighter. Anger cools, but secrets simmer. A stranger's kindness cracks her walls. Can a tycoon save her ranch or break her heart? This cabin's a crucible. Stick around, the heat's rising fast. Lila June Harrow stumbled out of the bedroom near dawn, dark circles shadowing her eyes, her face set with grim resolve. The storm still howled outside the Banff cabin, a relentless beast trapping her in. Ezra Kane Voss stood in the tiny kitchen nook, brewing coffee, its warm scent cutting through the chill. He offered her a mug, voice soft. "Rough night?" She shook her head, avoiding his gaze. "I'll find a way out," she muttered, grabbing her phone, still no signal. The cabin's landline sat dead, silenced by the blizzard. Ezra sighed, sipping his coffee. "Plows won't hit this road for a day, maybe two if it keeps up. We're stuck." Lila glared out the window, breath fogging the icy glass. "Stuck with the guy who wants my orchard. Great!" By mid-morning, restless tension drove her to rummage through the cabin's cupboards. Old board games, a crackly radio, some canned goods, anything to dodge the storm in her chest. Ezra kept his distance, giving her space. Hunger finally cracked her pride. "We should eat," she said curtly, digging out eggs and bread from the mini-fridge. He nodded, quiet. "I can cook if you want." "No," she snapped, softer than she meant. "I need to keep moving." She scrambled eggs while Ezra set the table. Silence hung thick, broken only by the sizzle of butter. They sat across from each other, plates steaming, the air swirling with unspoken words. "Look," Ezra started, clearing his throat. "I know you're mad, and you should be. But the storm's got us pinned. Can we at least keep it civil?" Lila poked her eggs, torn. Part of her wanted to scream, but exhaustion dulled her edge. "Fine," she said, voice tight. "But no ranch talk. Deal?" "Deal," he grinned, small and warm, like sunshine sneaking through clouds. They ate in a fragile peace, and Lila caught a spark in Ezra. When she mentioned her mom's apple jam, he chuckled. "Tried that once in my fancy condo, turned into a sticky disaster. Sugar everywhere, maid quit on the spot." She fought a laugh, but a smile slipped out. "You're hopeless," she teased, and his eyes twinkled back. "Hopelessly charming, you mean?" After breakfast, the fire drew them in again, the cabin's glow a soft shield against the white wall raging outside. Ezra pulled out a deck of cards. "Found these. Up for a game?" Lila eyed him, wary, then shrugged. "Sure, nothing else to do." They played gin rummy, the competition thawing the ice. Lila grinned when she won, smirking. "Guess I'm the champ here." Ezra groaned, biting his lip as he shuffled. "You're killing me, Harrow. Give a guy a break." She laughed, real, bright, and hated how easy he made it, how his frown tugged at her. "He's still the threat," she scolded herself, but a whisper asked, "Is he?" By day 2, snowbound in their private drift, a shaky truce took root. They cooked together, laughed over cards, even braved the icy porch to grab firewood from a shed. When Lila slipped, Ezra caught her, arms circling her waist. For a heartbeat, they stood close, breath mingling, snow swirling around. Her cheeks blazed, his gaze locked on hers. They pulled back, retreating inside, hearts thumping. No words, just a lingering spark. That evening, Lila draped a thick blanket by the fire, staring at the flames. Ezra approached, 2 mugs of tea in hand. "Peace offering," he murmured, setting one beside her. She took it, steam warming her face, and shot him a sidelong glance. "I can't believe how fast Pine Hollow could vanish." Mom's gone, crops tanked. Dad's still lost in it. Ezra settled across, firelight dancing on his face, softening his edges. I'm so sorry for her, for all of it. That kind of pressure's brutal. Lila's breath shook, the storm's hush, pulling truths free. Grandpa built that orchard from nothing, taught me to pick apples, tend the trees. It's not just land, it's us. Ezra's eyes held hers, warm and steady. You're not the first I've met who bleeds for their place. I get it. Usually I push fair deals, cash above market, sometimes buyback options. But yeah, it's still a takeover. The orchard might not stay farmland. Pain flashed in Lila's chest, her voice tight. Lawrence chews up small farms. Are you any different? He sighed, raking a hand through his hair. I try to be. If it's my deal, I fight for better terms. But I can't promise Pine Hollow stays whole. She looked down, throat burning. Then what? Dad's drowning in debt, about to lose it all. Silence stretched, embers popping. Then Ezra's voice softened. If he's that desperate, selling the slice might buy time. Or I could pitch my bosses a preservation clause, keep the orchard alive. No guarantees, but I'd try. Lila's head snapped up, eyes wide. You do that? A shy grin curved his lips. Never have. Usually it's sign and done. But Pine Hollow's special to you, and well, I'm starting to care. Her heart fluttered. Hope or caution, she couldn't tell. Why risk your neck for me? He set his mug down, leaning closer, voice low. 'Cause I've seen deals crush folks, wipe out stories like yours. You've got fire, Lila. Reminds me there's more than profit out there. Maybe it's time I stood for something real. Emotion choked her. She grabbed his hand, bold and shaky. Thank you, she whispered, tears brimming. But don't promise what you can't keep. I've lost too much already. He squeezed back, eyes shining. Let me handle that. We'll figure it out with your dad, together when the snow quits. In the fire's glow, a fragile bond sparked vulnerability, weaving them tight. Over the next day, their closeness grew, cooking breakfast, giggling over cards, hauling wood in a snowy stumble. When Ezra caught her again on the icy porch, their faces inches apart, the air crackled. Neither spoke, but the moment stuck. That night, Lila found an old puzzle. They pieced it together with Coco, laughing as pieces clicked. So, you're some hotshot for Lawrence? She teased. He chuckled. Guess so. Travel, deals, the works. But this beats any boardroom. She grinned soft. Stick with us, city boy. You might just find a home. His eyes twinkled. Maybe I already have. Banff's storm rages, but Lila and Ezra glow. Cards, Coco, and a crazy chance. Will he save her orchard or steal her trust? The snow's deep, but the stakes are deeper drop fireworks if you're hooked for the finish. Hey, Timelin's family, this cabin's cooking with heart. Did Lila and Ezra Spark warm you up? Hit like, share with your crew, and subscribe. Don't miss a beat of these soul-stirring tales. Banff's snow clears, but Lila's heart races. Ezra Kane Voss isn't just a stranger anymore. Pine Hollow's fate hangs on a kiss and a crazy plan. Can a tycoon turn savior? Or will the ranch slip away? This storm's breaking. Hold on. It's a wild ride. The fifth morning dawned sharp and clear outside the Banff cabin. Lila June Harrow woke to sunlight slicing through the windows, a blinding glow after days of gray. She rushed to the porch, breath catching at a world draped in white. Snowdrifts towered, but the sky blazed blue. Faint plow rumbles echoed from the highway. By noon, a snowplow growled up the lane, carving a jagged path to their hideout. Lila and Ezra swapped quick, unsure glances. Their bubble of isolation popped, real life crashing in. They packed fast, loading Ezra's SUV, the crunch of snow underfoot snapping the silence. The roads were still slick,
treacherous in spots but passable. Lila's phone buzzed alive. Missed text from Cal Harrow piling up. Where are you? Meeting delayed, Lawrence guys here.
Hurry. We should head to Pine Hollow, she said, nerves sparking. Dad's probably losing it. Ezra set his jaw, nodding. Let's go. The drive stretched long. Icy patches slowed them. Alberta's farmland glistening under the midday sun, snow weighing down every tree. Lila ached for the orchard's familiar rouse, praying the storm hadn't crushed them. Late afternoon, they rolled into Pine Hollow Ranch. Rustic barns, the weathered farmhouse, and beyond, fields stretching wide. Cal burst out as they parked, relief washing his face. "Lila!" he shouted, wrapping her in a bear hug. "Thank God you're safe." His eyes shifted, wary, to Ezra behind her. "And your Voss?" Lila swallowed hard. "Dad, we got a lot to talk about." They trudged inside, the farmhouse's warmth a balm after the cold drive. Old photos lined the mantel. Snapshots of Harrow grit reminding Lila what hung in the balance. Cal waved them to sit, arms crossed, suspicion sharp in his stare. "Not sure how you two ended up tangled," he said, eyeing Ezra. "But if you're here to shove a sail down my throat, Voss, you won't get it easy." Ezra squared his shoulders, voice steady. "Mr. Harrow, I'm proposing something different. Something to keep your orchard breathing. It'll take trust and a fight." Cal's brow furrowed, flicking a look at Lila. She nodded, urging him on. "Dad, hear him out. He's legit. He wants to help." "Help?" Cal echoed, doubtful. "Like what?" Ezra cleared his throat, nerves peeking through. "We'd buy a small chunk, enough to clear your debts, with a clause protecting the orchard. You'd manage it, with a buyback option down the line." A heavy hush fell. Cal paced, brow knit tight. "That's not Lawrence's style. They never floated that." "You sure they'll bite?" Ezra exhaled, firm. I'll pitch it as a test run, showing we can work with folks, not just take." Cal searched Lila's face. "This what you want, kid? Selling even a piece feels like giving up." Her throat tightened, voice soft. "I know, Dad. It kills me too. But it's better than losing it all. We'd keep the orchard, our home, maybe rebuild." Emotion shimmered in Cal's eyes. He turned to Ezra. "All right. If your boss's balk, we're out. I'd rather lose it to the bank than sign a raw deal." Ezra nodded, solid as stone. "You got my word. I'll push hard." Days blurred. Phone calls, video meets, last-minute haggling. Ezra worked like a man possessed, drafting plans, emailing Lawrence brass, feeling sharp pushback. Lila and Cal waited, hearts in their throats, ready to sign only if the orchard stayed safe. Late one evening, Lila found Ezra in the barn, pacing, phone pressed to his ear. "Yes, sir. I get your worries, but we can't just bulldoze family roots. Give me a shot to lock this down," he said, voice tight. An angry buzz crackled back. Ezra sighed, hanging up, then spotted her in the doorway. "They're threatening to yank me off this if I keep fighting for the orchard," he admitted, quiet. "But I'm not quitting." Lila's heart squeezed. She stepped close, resting a hand on his shoulder. "You're risking everything. Why?" He covered her hand with his, eyes soft. "'Cause you're worth it, Lila. This place, your fire. I'm done just cashing checks." Their gazes locked, raw and real. Slowly he leaned in, lips brushing hers in a gentle, lingering kiss, full of hope and heat. She melted into him, days of stress dissolving in that sweet warmth. Her hands gripped his coat, pulling him closer. "You're crazy," she whispered against his mouth, smiling through tears. "Crazy good," he grinned back, voice low. "We're tougher than this storm, together." The next morning, Cal joined them in the kitchen, coffee steaming as Ezra laid out the latest. "Lawrence is wobbling, but I got a call today. If I sell this right, we got a shot." Cal clapped his shoulder, gruff but warm. You're all right. Voss didn't expect a suit to have a heart. Lila laughed, light breaking through. He's full of surprises, Dad. Just wait. Ezra winked at her. Gotta keep you on your toes, Harrow. Cal grinned, rare and real. Keep that up and your family, deal or no deal. Banff's snow melts, but Lila and Ezra sizzle. Orchard dreams hang on a kiss and a call. Will Lawrence bend or break them apart? This fight's heating up. Drop fireworks if you're rooting for their win. Banff's snow settles, but Lila's heart races. Ezra's fighting for Pine Hollow, and love's blooming fast. A tycoon's deal, a widow's dream. Can they save the orchard and each other? This finale's pure gold. Grab your heart. It's a tearjerker you'll cheer for. Lila June Harrow had come to care for Ezra Kane Voss, deeply, fiercely, over the snowbound days. On the 7th morning after the storm, a final video call lit up the farmhouse kitchen in Banff. Lawrence Group's top brass joined Ezra and Cal Harrow online. Lila hovered at her dad's side, heart thumping like a drum. Ezra laid out the new terms, voice calm but firm. A partial sale for quick cash, orchard preservation for 5 years, and a buyback clause. The execs scowled, grilling him. Too soft, they barked. But Ezra stood tall. This isn't just land, it's legacy. Think PR gold, local partnerships, sustainability buzz. Pine Hollow's a gem. Let's shine it. Lila held her breath. Hours felt like years, until the lead suit sighed. Fine. But the orchard's got to turn a profit in 3 years or it's ours outright. Cal shot Lila a look. She nodded slow and steady. 3 years to save it. Better than losing everything now. Agreed, Cal said, voice shaky with relief. Ezra's shoulders eased, a grin breaking through. The call ended. Lila exhaled, tears spilling as she threw her arms around her dad. We did it, she choked out, hugging tight. They hadn't kept every acre, but the orchard, Pine Hollow soul, lived on, for now. That evening, after digital signatures sealed the deal, the farmhouse buzzed with light air. Lila and Ezra stepped outside, the crisp Alberta winter biting their cheeks. The setting sun painted the fields gold, glinting off snow-draped orchard trees. A sight that stole her breath. Thank you, she whispered, turning to Ezra, eyes shining. I never thought a corporate guy could care like this. He chuckled, soft and warm. And I never thought I'd fall head over boots for a rancher who wanted me gone. Heat rushed to her cheeks. Fall? In love? Ezra stepped close, tucking a stray curl behind her ear, voice low. Yeah, love. Maybe it's fast, but my heart knows you, Lila. The storm, this fight, you've changed me. Her eyes sparkled, tears brimming. She laughed, soft and shaky. You've changed me, too. Guess a blizzard can spark miracles. They leaned in, lips meeting in a tender kiss under the fading sun. Sweet, steady, a promise blooming. Soon Ezra would head back to Calgary. Paperwork, Lawrence battles. But he'd return. Lila would stay, pouring her soul into the orchard, proving its worth. I'll be back quick, he murmured, forehead pressed to hers. And when I am, let's plant new trees, watch them grow together. She nodded, tears slipping free, a grin breaking through. I'd love that. New roots with you. From a snow-trapped cabin to an unlikely team, Lila and Ezra had found something rare, love rooted in trust, compromise, and a shared dream. As Pine Hollow's dormant trees awaited spring, so did their bond, ready to thrive through the thaw of guarded hearts. Weeks later, Pine Hollow buzzed. Lila pruned the orchard. Cal grinned more, and Ezra's calls lit her days. One crisp morning, he rolled up in his SUV, a sapling poking out the back. Told you I'd bring something to plant, he said, eyes twinkling. She laughed, grabbing his hand. Let's make it ours. They dug into the frosty soil side by side, Cal watching from the porch, a rare smile cracking his weathered face. You two are trouble, he called, but the good kind. Lila grinned back. The best kind. Dad. Family. Bam's sun sets golden. Lila and Ezra turn snow into forever. Pine Hollow stands, love grows. Did this warm your soul? Drop fireworks below if you're cheering. Share this glow. It's too good to keep. Hey, Timeline Stories family, what a ride, huh? Did Lila and Ezra's orchard love melt your heart or spark your hope? Smash that like, share it with someone who needs a lift, and subscribe. Hit the bell so you're first in line for more tales that tug your strings. Where you're watching from? Tell me below. Your vibes keep this fire alive. Next up, more drama, romance, or miracles. You call it. Till then, plant your own roots, and I'll see you soon.